Noski on pole, Stokel alongside, then Richards, Beninka, Shearman, Tony Quinn, Peter Fitzgerald, Sam Newman qualified in the top 10 as well.
Keep in mind too, qualifying was held in wet and greasy conditions this morning. Although it's cold here at the circuit, it is dry. So we jump back aboard with Don Beninka. It's a rolling start for this one. All in readiness for Nations Cup action. A couple of weeks ago, they were on the streets of Adelaide. Now, the tight circuit at Wakefield Park. Noski on pole in the Budweiser Ferrari. And the Lamborghini SVR in the hands of Paul Stokel, three-time Australian Gold Star champion. They charge away, and it's Noski who settles into the lead.
Yes, this is the second round of the MegaMadness.com Nations Cup Series. Noski was the pole man, 107.9 in qualifying. There's the Jagger at the back of the field. First run this weekend for it, so it's still got quite a bit more development to come.
Cameron McConville joins us in the commentary box, and Cam, the Lamborghini seems to be handling things okay, even though it's only the opening lap on cold tyres. The bigger car is going quite well.
Well, I think it may struggle here, Rusty. We've seen that the Lamborghini's been the pace car in the championship, but this circuit well suited to the Porsches and also the Ferrari, so we'll have to wait and see if the Lambo has the pace this weekend. On board with Dominic Beninka, up ahead of him, reigning champion Jimmy Richards, fresh from his victory. The fifth victory, in fact, at Targa, Tasmania. And he's got his own problems, Beninka, because Peter Fitzgerald is really applying the thumb screws.
Yeah, good to see the TNT team give Dominic Beninka another chance at a championship. Stokel, though, was slow in qualifying. When I say slow, he had rubber problems in qualifying. Track was greasy, and he used old wet weather tyres from Bathurst last year. That did handicap him a little bit. So Noski got pole, but I would expect that on terms of track speed today, Stokel should be quicker.
TNT Porsche hard under brakes into turn one. And this is interesting, Cam, because he's having to fend off Peter Fitzgerald. Here's what's happening up in front. Stokel looking for a way to try and get past Noski.
Yeah, not quite close enough there. The best overtaking opportunity here is under brakes, down into this left-hander, and obviously at the end of the front straight as well. But the Porsche should really come through here, because brakes does take a big chunk out of your lap times. And interesting to see Peter Fitzgerald a fair way back in qualifying, so we'll have to watch it and see if he can come through as well.
Yeah, Fitzy also struggled for quick qualifying times. Jimmy Richards doing quite well in the Porsche, finished second to Stokel in the first round of the championship. Stokel has a look down the outside, can't quite do it there. Noski moves over, couples the line beautifully.
Big weekend for the Prancing Horse outfit. The debut of John Bowes' Ford Mustang, and they're running several Ferraris, but look at this run by Paul Stokel. Gee, he was like a slingshot out of that top turn, dived right down the inside of him.
He got the over and under trick there, Rusty, onto the front straight. A lot of power on this Lamborghini, and Mark Noski was a little cheeky there. He went to shut the door, but he couldn't really do it. The Lamborghini was already alongside the B pillar, and he's through, and we'll have to see if he can just stretch the legs down the front straight and get away from the Ferrari now.
So Jimmy Richards, the reigning champ. Stokel currently leading the championship after the first round at Adelaide. Noski in between was actually leading the Adelaide race until he had engine failure, so he's pretty desperate to grab a bag for the points this weekend.
Back aboard with Dominic Beninka. Tom doesn't mind plenty of attitude in this car, Cam.
You can hear a lot of tyre squeal there too, so I'm not sure whether that car's struggling for grip mid-corner. It seemed to be moving around a little bit, and can Fitzy? No, not quite close enough to go down the inside, but that's certainly one of the opportunities to get past around this Wakefield circuit.
Well, Dominic Beninka running Michelin tyres, Peter Fitzgerald backed by Spencer Grammer, the team at Falcon Tyres for many, many years, so that, I suppose, Cam, could be the answer to that question around here.
Yeah, maybe the Michelin tyre is a lot harder than it usually is. It's generally a soft tyre, but it just sounded by the noise inside the car that he may be struggling for a little bit of grip at the moment.
Put a quick shot in the background behind these two guys who are battling away of Tony Quinn in the VIP Pet Foods Porsche. He did very well at Targa, Tasmania recently. Look at Fitzgerald here trying to line up a run on Dominic Beninka. Very different lines between these two.
Yeah, Peter Fitzgerald looking for the inside running up here, but it's pretty much single file. It can be quite frustrating to try and get away through on this circuit, but he needs to think about where the overtaking opportunities are and make sure he gets a good run out of the corner before that, and not quite close enough to have a run down here, I would think.
Riding now with Mark Trudworth again in the Super Cheap-backed Jaguar XKR-T supercharged car. V8 running about 1 bar of boost. It's also carrying probably about 200 kilograms more in weight than its true racing weight. So again, quite a bit more development to come from this car.
It's a bit like a barrage drag, isn't it? Because we've been waiting for it to arrive for so long, and it's great to have it finally here. So lots more development work to come from this car as Mark settles into it.
And was built in Mark's garages. Mark himself has had a long-time history with Jaguar, had a very famous Australian Jaguar sports sedan, which was originally built by John McCormack many, many years ago, which I believe he still owns, but is so excited about this project. And Bob Thorne, the MD of Supercheap, will take over the drive of this car at Canberra.
Stuart Gagg in 8th position, just in behind him Sam Newman in 9th. So Sam's doing a great job at the moment in the Ferrari. Big weekend for the Prancing Horse outfit. We were mentioning before, stack of personnel on hand to cater for all the different cars in the different categories that they're looking after, Craig.
Yeah, it's a very, very busy weekend, particularly looking after a team of Ferraris, plus the debut of the brand new Ford Mustang in the hands of John Bowe. Also should mention the great qualifying effort from Scott Shearman. He qualified 5th fastest in the Prancing Horse Ferrari 360 Challenge, and he's currently running just behind Tony Quinn on the road as well.
Cam, you've raced one of these Ferraris. For the folks at home, you might like to let them know what they're like to drive.
Well, they're actually a very, very enjoyable car to drive, but on a high-speed corner, they're quite tricky. As you can see, they don't have any rear wings or any aerodynamics as such. It's all an under tray, so you have to try and stay off the curves, be very precise, but sequential gearbox, they are a lot of fun to drive.
So last lap now for Paul Stokel, our race leader in the Wilkinson Sword. Lamborghini Diablo SVR chasing down the Black Stallion driver, Sam Newman. Fairly appropriate sponsor for Sam, I would have thought.
He's done a terrific job, Paul Stokel, and has pulled clear of Mark Noske as we've been watching some of the other battles around this Wakefield Park circuit. But a sensational start to the weekend for the Lamborghini team. Paul Stokel will bring it home, the 3-time Australian Gold Star champion. Valuable points in the bag in Nations Cup, the Megamantis.com championship, and in behind him, Mark Noske. Well done for second.
And Jimmy Richards coming onto the straight now to take third outright, the reigning champion, of course, in this Nations Cup category in the OM's Porsche GT3, coming down now to take the checkered flag. Fitzgerald and Beninka, the battle's still not over. In fact, it's going to go right to the wire, and great performance from Dominic Beninka to hold out Peter Fitzgerald.
Great effort, a race-long battle, but Dom came out on top just ahead of Fitzy on the line.
So, race 1 in the Megamantis.com Nations Cup Championship here at Wakefield Park. Paul Stokel, the winner, from Mark Noske. Richards third, then Beninka, Fitzgerald. Good performance from Tony Quinn, Scott Shearman, and Mahir Al-Gadri into the top 10 too. Stuart Gagg, Sammy Newman, Mike Downard, Mark Treadworth and John Tulin running out the rest of the field.
Paul, a terrific result, and I tell you, you had to fight hard to begin with, didn't you?
My word, off the line it was very dicey. I mean, it's very hard in a rolling start to ever get the jump, because if you get in front by the line, it's it's a bit of an edgy rule. So I was happy to sort of get past him fairly early before his tyres really got up to full speed, and from that moment on, just pressed on, and the car was behaving beautifully.
Mark Treadworth, the pole sitter, also carrying an in-car camera. Mike Downard will start from position 2 from Sam Newman, then Stuart Gagg, Mahir Al-Gadri in the Ferrari alongside Scott Shearman, Tony Quinn, the VIP Pet Foods Porsche, alongside Peter Fitzgerald and his Porsche.
This is round 2, race 2 of the Megamantis.com Nations Cup for season 2001. The reigning champ, Jim Richards, will start from position 10 in this one, and just one row ahead of him, Peter Fitzgerald, who is well placed, our race winner, right off the very back of the grid. Treadworth on the inside in the Supercheap Autos Jaguar as we get set to take off here. Horde of Ferraris in behind him. For the Prancing Horse outfit, we've got the green flag. We are up and running, and Treadworth has been swamped off the line.
And Sammy Newman, of all people, has gone through the lead. What a great start from Sammy Newman in the Black Stallion car. Further back in the field, Paul Stokel, with Noske just behind him. Beninka on the inside in the TNT Porsche.
Wow, what about that from Stokel all the way around the outside as we welcome Cameron McConville back to the commentary box. That's a bold move on cold tyres.
Well, he's made up, look at that, 3 spots. He was right in front of Noske, and he's put about 3 cars between the two of them. That was obviously his plan, but just looking at the start of that race, too many drivers dawdling in the middle of the pack, so everyone has to stay close for a rolling start, and that's not going to help the guys coming way off the back of the grid.
So great start for Sammy Newman, continuing to lead from Peter Fitzgerald at the Falcon Tyres Porsche as the Treadworth Jaguar starts to fall back through the field.
Fitzgerald really applying the pressure. Something's happened to Al-Gadri because he's fallen right back through the field. Here, look at that, Tulin taking evasive action, and bang! Dominic Beninka in the TNT Porsche has sustained a lot of damage there. Tulin should be able to restart this one, Cam.
Well, Al-Gadri looks like he got sideways. He may have got squeezed for room by, I think, one of the other Ferraris, maybe Scott Shearman, but he started off a reaction getting sideways. Trulin went to avoid him. He eventually lost it, and Dom Beninka, the innocent party, deflected him on the way through.
Plenty of smoke coming out of the back of the Paul Stokel Lamborghini too. I think that may have been a result of a touch with Mark Noski at the start of this race, the rolling start. So whether that's going to cause Paul any further problems.
Just can't believe that whole series of events there. I wonder if that was maybe started by Trenoweth. He had the lose coming into that corner in the Jaguar, and everyone maybe took evasive action. Perhaps that's what the catalyst was. In the meantime, Stokel doing a terrific job. Let's have another look at this.
Well, look at Gadri go up the inside. You see he hit the curb. He got sideways, so he did get squeezed for room. Then he's overcorrected, come back across the track. So I'd say it may have actually been Mark Noski in the Ferrari that sort of squeezed him for room back on the left-hander, and it was all a bit of a reaction from there.
So bad luck for Dominic Maninka and a sad blow as we look at the onboard replay now.
So watch Gadri come up the inside.
Oh, quite graphic.
Dominic Maninka sustaining a lot of damage, and I think that will be the end of his race in the TNT Porsche. Tony Quinn now ahead of our race one winner Paul Stokel. You can see the stricken TNT Porsche just off to the left there.
Yeah, bad luck for Dominic Maninka and a severe blow to his championship points too, given that we're into round two. Great performance from Tony Quinn and the VIP Pet Foods Porsche GT3. Finished second to Jimmy Richards in Targa Tasmania recently. Now under threat though from Paul Stokel's V12 Lamborghini.
Tell you who's got the biggest smile here at Wakefield Park right now. That has got to be Peter Fitzgerald. He has really cleared out on this duo. Second place now resolved in favour of Paul Stokel. So Tony Quinn in the end lets him through. Big weekend for Tony Quinn as well, not only campaigning a Porsche but running in the V8 Youth Series as well.
Yeah, loves his motor racing. Former Scottish Formula Ford champion is Tony Quinn. As Paul Stokel now, new lap record, a 1:08.1, so the Lamborghini well and truly on a charge.
Doing a terrific job in these cold conditions at Wakefield Park, and from the get-go, Cam, he was right on it.
He certainly was. He's been driving very aggressively, and sometimes that can go against you in a reverse grid race, but you either take that on board and you go straight down the inside, you don't hesitate, and that's what he's done. He's really thrown that car down the inside, got past a lot of people, including Jim Richards, very, very easily.
Tony Quinn on screen again in car 43, Jimmy Richards in the OAMS Porsche, with Noski sandwiched between the two Porsches at the moment. Noski finished second to Stokel in the earlier race here at Wakefield Park.
Stokel is back in the Lamborghini Diablo SVR this weekend, Craig. A lot of people would have seen the debut of the brand new GTR at Adelaide, but that car's had to head back to Italy as Noski makes a move down the inside in another Italian make, the Ferrari, down the inside of Jim Richards.
Did it pretty easily in the end there, Rusty, and that was good. Jim Richards gave him enough room. He got there, got right alongside the B-pillar, which is generally determined as the overtaking section, or when the car gets alongside that B-pillar, that car now has right of way, and Jim let him through.
Well, I guess Jimmy knows how to win championships, and that's how you do it, Cam. He knows he can't beat him on the road in terms of outright car speed today, but he can still pick up a bag of points, so why argue over it and perhaps run the risk of going off? But Peter Fitzgerald in the Falcon Tyres Porsche continues to lead.
Wonder if the gap can be closed here if there's enough time and the way that Stokel is driving.
Certainly, I think there is, Rusty, because that car has got a lot of straight line speed. Just coming onto the straight there, it looked a little nervous in the back of the car. You could see it hopping around a lot. So I don't know whether the car has sprung a little too stiffly or something in the rear shock, but it certainly looked like it was bouncing all over the road, but still producing good pace.
I tell you what, though, it looks like Stokel picked up a fair bit of track time over Peter Fitzgerald last time around. Further back in the field, Noski currently running third on the road, finished second in the earlier race today, so he's got to run both Fitzgerald and Stokel down if he's any chance of claiming a full set of points in this race.
Noski doing a terrific job in the Budweiser Ferrari. Had expected him to be a bit closer to the battle going on up in front now. This is Mark Trenoweth in the Super Cheap Autos Jaguar. He is about to be lapped just by he's run off the circuit here too on the top turn. Hangs on to it in the supercharged Jaguar, but he's under threat here because Stokel and Fitzgerald, there they are. So Fitzgerald gets past, so too does Stokel. Look at the speed differential between those cars, and now Stokel right around the outside. Fitzgerald, as we head for home, tries to hang on to second, but it was all in vain.
Well, look at the horsepower difference there. The Lamborghini just drove right around the outside. I thought Fitzy may have still been far enough in front to cover the inside line, but a good out-braking manoeuvre there by Paul Stokel, and he's going to pull it off right from the back of the grid.
Yeah, very aggressive move by Paul Stokel around the outside of Peter Fitzgerald there, and Fitzy had to back out of it. So I would suggest that Stokel actually took a fair bit of risk to pull that manoeuvre off.
Obviously still very strong under brakes too though, Craig. We thought the Lamborghini may not be as good as the Porsche under brakes, but that nearly proved that wrong.
And I guess it's a bit of a surprise this weekend because I think that no one really thought the Lamborghini would be a real force around this 2.2-kilometre circuit at Wakefield Park, which is really quite tight. If anything, I guess everybody thought it would perhaps be a Porsche track.
Well, he's proved them wrong, hasn't he? Paul Stokel, 2 starts and now his second victory of the weekend. The Lamborghini team delighted with it. The 3-time Australian Formula Holden champion will take it out. Look at that, the battle for second resolved right on the line in favour of Fitzgerald.
Now the bag full of points in the Maguire's Drivers' Championship from Paul Stokel, then Peter Fitzgerald. Mark Noske will finish third in the Ferrari. Jimmy Richards, Tony Quinn, Scott Shearman, Sam Newman and Stuart Gagg. Further back in the field, Downard, Chulin, Trenoweth, Al Gardner and of course Benica, both I don't believe finishes in this race.
Lamborghini has been unstoppable so far today. Can anyone do anything about it in race 3 of the MegaMatters.com Nations Cup? Stokel, not surprisingly, on pole alongside Mark Noske. Reigning champ Jim Richards alongside Peter Fitzgerald, who finished second in the last race.
Mike Downard, Mark Trenoweth, John Chulin in the Nissan Skyline 4-wheel drive round out the field. Unfortunately, non-starters in this race, including Dominic Beninka after his crash in race 2.
Yeah, rotten luck for the TNC Porsche driver. Keep in mind, rolling starts in this one. And away we go. We've got a green flag, so Stokel will lead the field away. There was problems for one of the Porsches up the back of the field, and Cameron McConville to spice this race up even more. There's been a little bit of rain come down on the track in the last few minutes.
Certainly has. You can see that there was a little bit of spray even going into turn 1. Oh, and there goes the Jaguar. So we could see him warming up the tyres actually at the back of the field. A little bit concerned perhaps about how much heat there was in those tyres, and certainly wasn't enough.
Oh, and we've got another one going around. That's Stuart Gagg. So they're all having their moments on this opening lap. And Gagg has done it all on his own, and it looks like Trenoweth did exactly the same thing.
Well, it'd be very, very greasy at the moment. Not enough rain to be fully wet, but just greasy. But that should suit the Ferrari. It's a mid-engine car. It's quite a heavy car. So is the Lamborghini. But I'd have to say that the Ferrari should be a closer pace to the Lamborghini in these conditions.
I think the interesting thing about this race, guys, is what's going to happen with tyres. Let's have a look at the replay of Mark Trenoweth, and yeah, the back just stepped out on the greasy conditions, and it really, absolutely nothing about it, Cam.
Well, he should be braking there, so perhaps it just grabbed the rears and locked the rear brakes. Around he went, so luckily no one ran into him. And let's have a look at the Gagg and he ran over the curb, got sideways off the ripple strip, I'd say, and a harmless spin into the infield there. He should continue on.
He was trying to get down the inside of Quinn by the looks of things, and the car's come a cropper as he's gone over the ripple strips, but up in front, Stokel leading from Noske.
Absolutely, and of course tyres a critical factor. Who started on wets, who started on intermediates? The word from the pits is most of the front runners are all on wet weather tyres, Cam, and the conditions really, as we see them now, probably not quite wet enough.
No, so they will be looking for perhaps wet patches down the front straight once these... You can see it's wet certainly around this part of the circuit, but it may be drying down the front straight there, so they'll have to keep an eye on that, because when wet weather tyres go off, they're better off, obviously, starting perhaps on slicks and losing a bit of time early on in the race.
John Chulin, the Nissan Skyline, 4-wheel drive, so he's probably the man around here that should have the most amount of traction, although he gets the tail out as he goes onto the main straight. Jimmy Richards, though, the man they call the Rainmaster, fresh from his Targa Tasmania win in the OAM's Porsche. Now he's got around Stokel, so now Richards is our race leader from Stokel, then Noske, then Fitzgerald.
Wonder what's happened there. Stokel may have perhaps had a moment somewhere on the circuit, but Jimmy has cleared out. Let's have a look here, Ken.
Well, you can see the Lamborghini starting to get a little bit sideways. Jimmy's certainly right up there. He goes to the outside, and I think he's going to outbrake him all the way around the outside here. No, he went through on the inside, so nice clean move by Jimmy Richards, but this track is certainly starting to dry a little.
Sammy Newman in the Black Stallion, Racing Horse Ferrari, Scott Shearman just behind.
Oh, Sam Newman's in trouble, and he's gone around. That's at the very end of the front straight.
Stay out of that. Wrong way to go there, Sammy. Should have got reversed there. Just drove into the sand enough to probably bog the car. And this, I would imagine, could bring the safety car out, because it's in a bad spot at turn 1. He certainly got a bog. Just dropped the left rear off onto the dirt on turn-in, and around he went.
Safety car board being shown, so the thrifty safety car back on track at the moment. So Jimmy Richards, Paul Stokel, Mark Noske. Let's have a look on the replay. Just drops that left-hand rear on the grass, and just enough to turn him around.
Yeah, and you can see that he then didn't really get on the brakes enough as he went off the road. The best thing to do here probably would have been to have grabbed reverse because the rear tyres weren't in the sand until then. And all over for Sam Newman, unfortunately.
Now, this is interesting. Noski's taken the advantage of the safety car to come into the pits and change tyres. Gee, I tell you what, that's a big gamble in a sprint race. One would assume that he's probably opted for slick tyres.
Well, that could well be a very good decision because the safety car's pulling off now. He'll have to try and get around as quickly as he can. But if those guys are on wets and this track dries, Mark Noski will certainly be the pace.
Jim Richards in the OAM's Porsche leads the field away. We're under green conditions once again. From the Lamborghini, look at the way the Lamborghini gets sideways under brakes there.
Well, the wet weather tyres, I'd say, are getting squirmy or they're getting too hot. So the car will be very, very loose. And if it's loose under braking, then I'd say he's in real trouble trying to get the power down.
Mark Treadworth in the super cheap Jaguar car with John Tulin just behind him. And, of course, Mark Noski's given these guys pretty much a half a lap start. So in terms of a 15-lap sprint race, it's a fair call.
It certainly is, but you can never sort of underestimate what on a drying track a fairly fresh, slick tyre can do. And you can see there's pretty much a dry line there, Craig. So if Mark Noski can get some temperature into those slick tyres, which is the hardest thing on a damp track, he will certainly close in on that field very, very quickly. And
I guess it's all a question, too, of how much the tyres of the guys in front of him are degrading because Noski's on a better, fresher set. And look at that, Noski barges past Trenoweth. He is charging up through the field.
Up the front of the field, it's Stokel in the Lamborghini, Fitzgerald, Richards, of course, our race leader. Tony Quinn doing a great job too in car 43, the VIP Pet Foods Porsche.
Geez, Stokel really struggled there coming into that corner. You could see the way the car was moving all over the place under brakes, Cam.
Yes, it was, and very, very tightly. He's doing a good job to hang onto it and not to bunker this car, but it's moving around all over the place. So the wet weather tyres have certainly had a harder time on the Lamborghini than the Porsches because they're still holding a reasonable pace. But credit goes to Prancing Horse for pulling Mark Noski in. The question is, will he be able to catch them and get past them all in time?
Quinn now putting a lot of pressure on Stokel too. A man that's a very successful businessman in the VIP pet foods business, of course, samples his own pet food, so I guess that's why he likes to chase fast cars.
Sam Newman diving down the inside of Mark Trenoweth in the Jaguar. You can hear the awesome sound of that supercharged 8-cylinder. This is what's going on up ahead of him because Noski, keep in mind, has already gotten past Trenoweth and he is charging out. Look, Quinn is now in front of him, so this is an inspired drive from Mark Noski in the Budweiser Ferrari. There's Quinn ahead of him, and then it's the Lamborghini of race 1 and race 2 winner Paul Stokel. So this is an incredible charge.
Look at Noski now, right up the tail of Stokel, and really when you look at the lap times, guys, it says it all. Noski 102.5, Stokel 108.1.
There you go, 6 seconds, and doesn't take long to bring in the field at that different pace. Whoa, Stokel trying to get the power down. The car's walking all over the place. Mark Noski's just got to be careful when he goes offline to pass these cars on slicks because it is still damp off the racing line. So that's really the only thing he has to watch. I'd say he's looking really good.
Given the dominance of Stokel earlier today, 2 race wins this weekend, Cam, clearly the wet weather package for this car is nowhere near as good as a Porsche Ferrari.
No, and really this is the first opportunity, except for Adelaide, they've had to run in the wet. But look, perhaps the wets that he chose to run were quite worn and old in the first place, and with this temperature, look at that. Noski on the grass, but goes right around Peter Fitzgerald, so this car is absolutely flying now. Fitzy can't do anything about it, and Noski doing it very comfortably.
Noski is right on it, isn't he? You saw the way that he even ventured off that dry line on the wet circuit, and the car's moving around dramatically, so this is not over yet. Jim Richards leads the way in this one. This was how second place was resolved. Look at that.
Just put the wheel up on the curb. Still had 2 wheels on the dry section, I suppose, and Fitzy did run wide. There was a hole, and Mark Noski's got the bit between his teeth. There's no doubt about that.
He certainly has. Look at him. There's Jim Richards. This is now the battle for the lead into turn 1. And this should be the final time too. Last lap board has been shown to these guys. Noski carrying a lot more car speed. Can Richards and the Porsche hang on to it? No, Noski has dived down the inside there. He got a good run off the final turn. Jimmy is squeezing the maximum out of the Porsche, trying to hang on to it. Not enough. It's not enough.
Great move by Mark Noski right around the outside, and Jimmy certainly gave it right up to me. They both went in deep. Mark Noski had a little bit more grip. You could see Jim slid wide there, and Noski's going to pull it off. That was a race that is going to be won by that fantastic strategy by pulling him in for a pit stop, the only car that did it.
Well, no doubt about it. Nigel Barclay and the team took a big gamble in doing that, but it's certainly paid the dividends. Mark Noske been very aggressive all weekend, so hungry for a race win in this year's championship. So good to see that it's actually come his way in race 3.
What a tremendous weekend it's been for the prancing horse outfit. We saw John Bowe taking a victory in the Mustang earlier today. Mark Noske bounces back. It was the Lamborghini in races 1 and 2, but the prancing horse outfit celebrate victory in the 3rd one today here at Wakefield Park.
Yeah, great result. And of course, Jimmy Richards, ever the reign master and ever so consistent in the championship, coming through to finish 2nd. And that will keep him 2nd in the points tally. I think you'll find Paul Stoker will probably still lead the championship after this weekend. And Peter Fitzgerald in the Falcon Tyres Porsche coming through. He'll claim 3rd outright. And what a great drive too from Tony Quinn. 2nd to Jimmy Richards in Targa recently and 4th here today.
See Stokel just getting across the line there, or heading down towards the line in the background. So it was a tough finish in that Lamborghini in the end, not quite suited to the wet conditions which have unveiled in the final race of the day here. Mark Noske, sensational performance for the 25-year-old in the Budweiser Ferrari. And that result will no doubt help him in terms of the Maguire's Drivers' Championship. Mark Noske, a race winner from Jim Richards and Peter Fitzgerald. So a strong end to the weekend for the Porsche outfit. Tony Quinn getting home there in 4th position. Stuart GAGG in 5th. And Paul Stokel hanging on, clinging on, in fact, to 6th position in the Lamborghini Diablo. Let's go trackside and have a word to our race winner. Brenton Ramsey is with Mark Noske.
Yeah, that was certainly exciting. We were sort of toing and froing whether to go for a wet or a dry, and we didn't have an intermediate, so we sort of went for a gamble and got the wet. And I probably called the pace car a lap, like when as soon as I saw the pace car come out, I should have told the boys to come in. So the wets were just going away, and I thought it was worth a gamble because we were either going to fall back into the pack. So I thought it's worth a gamble to go for the slicks, and boy, did that pay off.
You must have thought though that when the safety car came in that maybe you were just a little bit too far behind at that stage.
Yeah, when I first went out on the slicks, it was obviously with no temperature, and I thought, oh geez, I don't know whether this is a good decision or not. And the guy said that it's going to go green this lap, and I looked over and they were about half a track in front. And I mean, I couldn't believe how much I caught them, and it's just amazing. This is awesome. Best win of my life.
Well, race win in number 3, Mark Noske. Congratulations, well done.
Thanks very much.
Well, in terms of the Maguire's Drivers' Championship point score, he now sits 4th, Mark Noske, on 166 points. Peter Fitzgerald is 3rd, but it's Stokel who is leading the way by 12 points over Jimmy Richards.